Good evening and welcome to this conversation around COVID-19 titled Women in the Lockdown. Over the past few years, we've been having a series of conversations around health and development and how it interacts with the current crisis of COVID-19. Today, we are going to be discussing how women are impacted by this lockdown, but really more importantly, about the change in the COVID situation, not just in India, but globally. As we've struggled to find way around the COVID-19 crisis, we seem to have forgotten the impact that it is happening with people who have less agency, less rights, and less ability to negotiate around this crisis. Today, this conversation that we are going to be holding is going to be around how women are impacted, women and children, within society, within our homes, in our cities, in our villages. This conversation is going to be bilingual. हम हिंदी और अंग्रेजी दोनों में बात करेंगे ताकि आपको ठीक से इस बातचीत में हिस्सा लेने का मौका मिले और हम ये कोशिश करेंगे कि हम महिलाएं और बच्चों के बारे में कोविड-19 कोरोना वायरस जिससे आज पूरा विश्व लड़ रहा है उससे जुड़े हुए जो उनके ऊपर इम्पैक्ट है, जो उनके ऊपर असर है, उसको ठीक से समझें और उसको ये भी समझें कि उससे हमारा जुड़ाव क्या है, हमारा रिश्ता क्या है और हम किस तरह उसको बेहतर कर सकते हैं। जिससे पहले मैं हमारी गेस्ट को इंट्रोड्यूस करूं, बिफोर आई इंट्रोड्यूस आवर गेस्ट टुडे, आई वांट टू से अ फ्यू थिंग्स। होम इज नॉट अ सेफ स्पेस फॉर एवरीबॉडी। ये मान लेना कि घर हर जने के लिए एक सुरक्षित जगह है, ये गलत है, खासकर महिलाओं और बच्चों के लिए। दूसरा, अगर हम चाहें तो हम किस तरह इसे इम्प्रूव कर सकते हैं, किस तरह हम इसे बेहतर कर सकते हैं, ये हमें समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है। We need a conversation around women in COVID and women in this lockdown than we have needed ever before. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest for this evening. But before I do, let me say that we are accepting live questions. You can tweet to us, you can comment on our Facebook page, you can comment on our YouTube page and Insta if you want to reach us and let us know what you want to ask us, what you want to discuss. If there is a burning issue that you want to raise, please reach out to us. Let me introduce my guest for today. She actually needs no introduction. Her body of work is really fantastic. And she's the ideal person to have this conversation with because through her work, she has epitomized not just the strength of women across classes and across languages in a way, but also the vulnerability of women, which is something that we seem to forget quite so easily. हम बहुत बार भूल जाते हैं कि महिलाएं और बच्चों के साथ जो उनकी वल्नरेबिलिटी है, जो उनका रिश्ता है घबराहट से, डर से, वो किस तरह हम समझें और ये अपने काम से हमें बहुत अच्छी तरह समझाती हैं ये। So let me, without further ado, welcome Sayani Gupta. Sayani is, well, you all recognize her. I don't really need to introduce her any further. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation, Sayani.
Thank you, Chapal. You're so kind. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really want to ask you, starting from, you've often spoken about women, about gender justice, about human rights, and your body of work has also often embodied that. तो आपके काम से भी जुड़ा हुआ है ये कि आप कुछ इस तरह का काम करती हैं जिसमें औरतों की जो मुश्किलात हैं उनको आप और अच्छी तरीके से दर्शा पाती हैं. Women in this lockdown, 2 months, 2 महीने हो गए हैं हम इस लॉकडाउन में. Women are struggling not just as the startling images that we are seeing of migrant workers, but also of others, women within homes. I was reading a recent report by the Delhi Commission of Women, where they're saying by their number of calls have increased substantially, both around domestic violence and other issues. What impact do you think, both as a woman but also as an artist, do you think this lockdown is having on women today?
You know, there is a lot of impact that anyway comes on women. We always don't address it. It always doesn't um, seem important enough. But anything that happens, there is a direct impact on women every time. And what the lockdown has brought in, first of all, there are two if we have to divide it in two categories, there are women who stay at home, who take care of take care of their homes and of everything around the household, about, the husband's needs and the children's needs and the in-laws' needs, and there is a lot of unsaid kind of, nobody really talks about it, nobody really celebrates it, but there is a constant sacrifice in a way, but a lot of work that goes in. And then there are women who are breadwinners and they go out and they have their careers and lives professionally, but they also have to take care of homes.
Yeah.
And we are talking about both these women, right? Who and there are women who belong to a certain strata, socioeconomic strata, who always don't have the liberty, the financial independence. Sometimes they are independent financially, people who work in our homes. There are a lot of women who don't always are in a position to say out aloud what they are feeling, and there is a lot of social stigma attached to that as well. So, when we talk about women, there's just not one single kind of woman. There are women of all kinds, from different socioeconomic stratas. And what we need to realize is that, there is a lot of burden, and I'm calling it burden because it seems to be a lot more than the man probably takes on his shoulders, that the woman constantly has to take and do it quite silently. My scientist, one of my very, very close sisters, she was telling me, she's a scientist in America, and she was like, when my husband is doing work from home, nobody expects him to do the dishes and teaching the homeschooling the kid or doing jharu pocha or all of that. It's expected that, oh, he's really working hard from home and
Yeah.
he has to be sitting in front of his computer while the lunch and dinner and tea and snacks is served, and it's expected to be served in front of him by his wife, who's also working from home, but also is taking care of the child and also is doing, cleaning and, the other household chores. So there's a lot that is expected out of the woman.
Yeah.
And that, I think, now more than ever, I feel it's being seen more starkly. So you appreciate men who who share the household work and who share the load, so to say, at home, that you appreciate more. But more than appreciation, I feel children should be taught from a very, very early age
Yeah.
that it's not only the woman's responsibility to take care of the house. If everyone is living in the house, then it's everyone's joint responsibility to make sure it's clean and the utensils are done and the cooking is in place, and generally like being shared. And I think these are conversations that have started. But also, Chapal, the most important and disturbing thing that has come out of the lockdown is domestic violence, as you said.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people, and not only, we tend to think that maybe it's in certain quarters
Mm.
who don't have education, but it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Even in very, very well-to-do or probably educated households, domestic violence has always existed, and not enough can or has been done about it. And sometimes it's the women who are in these relationships who are not able to speak about it because there's a social stigma and taboo, or they don't have they don't have a comfortable confidant to sort of share it with. There is
Yeah.
not enough people who can listen to them and help them probably in that situation. So with the lockdown, because there's a lot of growing frustration, And I definitely want to address mental health here, because it's not just about blaming people. I think every single human being who's in this, you might not feel it, but there is a lot of stress that everyone's feeling. And there's so much uh, importance that should be given to mental health. And even men who, for example, who are used to going out, having a circle, having a life, going out to work, maybe they meet their friends, they're also, and even women, but the people are forced to stay at home. So there is a lot of frustration, and it's annoying to be around human beings, and especially homes and
Yeah,
houses with lots of people in it. Everyone's in each other's hair all the time, and it's always not easy to cope with that. And
so,
it all unfortunately comes on the women. So all these frustrations either come out in the form of physical violence, or what do you call it? Like even verbal abuse.
in
It's
verbal abuse is a huge issue. Yeah. I mean,
yes, yes.
I wanted to pick up some of the things that you were saying. कुछ बातें जो आप कह रही थी, I want to pick them up because I think you gave a great lay in the sense of what actually are many of the problems. बहुत सी क्या समस्याएं हैं. Number one thing is, I read this beautiful quote about somebody saying the economy is not shut because 50 to 60% of the women who run this economy are working. In fact, they are working twice as hard. भारत बंद नहीं है. भारत की औरतें और विश्व की औरतें इस वक्त काम कर रही हैं. तो आदमी काम नहीं कर रहे हैं, तो ये कोई बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है, क्योंकि जो दुनिया चला रहे हैं, जो हमें हमारी ज़िंदगी में खाना और कई ज़रूरात की हमारी मदद कर रहे हैं, जो दिखा रहे हैं, वो औरतें हैं. You spoke about domestic violence, यानी कि हिंसा जो हमारे घरों में होती है, खासकर जो हम देखते हैं कि हम हमेशा ये सोचते हैं कि ये एक पर्टिकुलर इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रेटा में है, मगर जो हमें दिख रहा है इस वक्त, अब जैसे कि फ्रांस और जर्मनी में और यूके में ये बताया गया है कि उनके डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस कॉल्स 30 to 35%. ये उभरे हुए देश हैं, ये विकसित देश हैं जिनकी हम बात कर रहे हैं. These are developed countries that we are talking about. The domestic violence has crisis calls have increased by 30 to 35%, बढ़ गई हैं. तो इसमें औरतें किस तरह अपने आप को संभालें, क्योंकि एक तरह से हमें पेट्रियार्की ये सिखाती है. जब आप किसी हिंसा का शिकार होते हैं, तो जब आप किसी और से जुड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं, कहते हैं कि मेरे साथ ये हिंसा हो रही है, चाहे वो शारीरिक हिंसा हो, चाहे वो मानसिक हिंसा हो, तो हमको ये कहा जाता है कि नहीं, ये ख़त्म हो जाएगा. We are somehow asked not to call it out. And this is now becoming very, very stark in this lockdown, isn't it? Because these homes are not safe spaces for a lot of these vulnerable women and girls anymore. So what would you say to that?
There is only one way to stop it, to call it out and to leave, and that's what I mean. I've seen domestic violence at very, very close quarters, and every time I think about those times, and I've always told my mother, and this is when I was very, very little. Children understand, and you're not only endangering and putting your lives in danger, your meaning, the women who are in it. You're also putting the children's lives in danger, and not only lives, but the impact of this is so deep. It's such a deep scar that even when you have the best kind of education or exposure, a lot of times people are not able to come out of it. I mean, there are ways to grapple with it, but it never really leaves you. And I truly feel that, and unfortunately, शायद मुझे हिंदी में बात करनी चाहिए, कि जो भी मतलब ऐसे हाल में, ऐसे परिस्थिति में है, उनको ये समझना होगा कि ये सिर्फ उनके लाइफ के बारे में नहीं है, उनकी जिंदगी नहीं है. क्योंकि बहुत बार औरतें ना, और ये सच बात है, क्योंकि डिवोर्स और अलग होना अपने पति से इतना बड़ा स्टिग्मा है आज भी हमारे सोसाइटी में, हमारे देश में, कि बहुत सारी औरतें जिनके पास, कुछ औरतें हैं जिनके पास फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस नहीं है, वो हमेशा सोचते हैं मैं क्या खाऊंगी, क्या बच्चों को क्या खिलाऊंगी, कैसे जीऊंगी, कौन देखेगा मुझे। मुझे हमेशा लगता है कि कुछ ना कुछ करके हो जाता है जुगाड़, भगवान देख लेता है, यूनिवर्स आपका कुछ ना कुछ करके चीजें ठीक हो जाती है। पर वो कभी एक आई मीन इट्स ऑब्वियसली इजियर सेड देन डन, बट ये कभी एक रीजन नहीं हो सकता कि आप सालों एक अब्यूसिव रिलेशनशिप में हो और उसके बारे में कुछ ना कर पाए। और दूसरी चीज है, बहुत सारे लोग जो शायद फाइनेंशियली भी इंडिपेंडेंट है, उनको भी लगता है कि नहीं मैं एडजस्ट कर लेती हूँ, या फिर ठीक है हो जाएगा, या फिर कभी ना कभी बेहतर हो जाएगा। शायद उनके आसपास जो लोग हैं, जो माँ बाप है, जो फैमिली है, जो परिवार के लोग हैं, या फिर जो दोस्त है, वो भी कभी कभी बोलते हैं नहीं सहन कर लो, झेल लो, ठीक हो जाएगा कभी ना कभी। तो वो शायद कभी होता नहीं है ठीक, क्योंकि जिसके फितरत में है किसी के ऊपर हाथ उठाना, जब तक उसको कुछ मतलब कुछ बड़ा हिट ना करे, आई डोंट थिंक उसको रियलाइजेशन होता है कि ये गलत है, ये बात ये बिल्कुल करना सही नहीं है और ये क्रिमिनल है। सो आई थिंक ये हमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा बात करना पड़ेगा इसके बारे में। अगर हमें लगता है कि कोई इसके ऐसे हालात में है हमारे आसपास, तो हमें बात उठानी पड़ेगी। बहुत बार हमें लगता है कि नहीं ये उनकी निजी मामला है, इस पे हम नहीं पढ़ते हैं, पर ये निजी मामला नहीं हो सकता, ये किसी की जिंदगी का सवाल है। अगर आप देखते हैं कि आपके आसपास कहीं अब्यूज हो रहा है, या फिर आपको भनक भी है, जैसे कि मैं अपने अपने मेरे घर पे जो काम करती है, ऑब्वियसली वो 2 महीने से नहीं आ रही है, पर मैं उसको उससे काफी रेगुलरली बात करती हूँ, मैं उसको फोन करती हूँ या मुझे वो फोन करती, और मुझे पता है कि उसका पति या फिर उसके बच्चे काफी अभी बड़े हो गए, वो शायद काफी खुश एक परिवार में है, पर वो मेरा ड्यूटी है उससे एक बार पूछना कि सब ठीक है ना, पति तंग तो नहीं कर रहा है। और ये मतलब आप बहुत लाइटली भी कर सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है कि आप प्रोब करें, पर थोड़ा हमें भी एट एन इंडिविजुअल लेवल थोड़ा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दिखाना चाहिए और लेना चाहिए कि हमारे आसपास जो है उनकी तरफ हम थोड़ा सा देखें, एक बार रुके, और अगर वो हमारे नेबरहुड में हो रहा है ये, या फिर हमारे दोस्तों के साथ हो रहा है, या फिर हमारे आसपास जो है हमारे इधर जो काम करते हैं, या जिनके साथ हमारा डे टू डे एक संबंध बन जाता है, उनके लिए हम थोड़ा सा एक सेफ स्पेस क्रिएट करें, ताकि अगर कुछ हो वो आके हमें वो बता सके, और अगर बताते हैं तो हमें कुछ उसके बारे में करना चाहिए। एंड इट्स अ वेरी कम्युनिटी सॉर्ट ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दैट आई थिंक वी ऑल should take. It's no
Yeah.
longer just it's their personal thing. Let them kill each other, let them
I mean, this
but
is so. This is also important because violence is a learned habit, right? जब हमारे बच्चे देखते हैं वायलेंस एंड औरतों की तरफ वायलेंस आदमियों का, तो वो ये वायलेंस सीखते हैं, हम उन्हें सिखाते हैं, राइट? हिंसा सीखी हुई भाषा है। कोई बच्चा नहीं आता हिंसा सीख के। तो और हिंसा सहन करना भी एक सीखी हुई आदत है। हम सिखाते हैं अपनी महिलाओं को कि हिंसा के बारे में को सहन करना सीखो। I want to ask you a very important thing that you raised a little bit earlier, which was about mental health. India is considered the most depressed country in the world. It is the country with the maximum number of mental health problems, many of whom are largely undiagnosed, and a large percentage of those are with women. We forget the mental health crisis is extreme with women because they have less agency, they have less rights, they are often open to abuse right till very late in their lives. what are the mental health implications of women in this lockdown? I mean, I cannot even imagine being stuck for 2 to 3 months in, forget about physical violence for a moment, but even in a verbally deprecating, let's put the word abusive aside for a second, even in a in a verbally deprecating where you are constantly criticized, हमेशा आपकी निंदा हो रही है, हमेशा आपका क्रिटिसिज्म हो रहा है, उसका मेंटल हेल्थ पे क्या असर पड़ता है?
There are two things, answering your question. दो हिस्सों में हम बांट सकते हैं इसको. पहली बात तो नीना गुप्ता जी ने एक इंस्टाग्राम में एक पोस्ट किया था. मुझे बहुत खूबसूरत चीज बोली थी उन्होंने कि अगर आप घर पे हैं, मैं औरतों के बारे में बोल रही हूँ, कि अगर आप घर पे हैं और आपको लग रहा है कि आपको सास कुछ बोल रहा है, सास वो भी करना है, आपका पति कुछ चाह रहा है, आपके बच्चे तंग कर रहे हैं, बात नहीं सुन रहे, उनको होम स्कूलिंग भी करवाना है, बहुत सारा चीज है. आपको एक पल के लिए, और बहुत सारे घरों में औरतों के लिए स्पेशली, एक अपना स्पेस बनाना बहुत मुश्किल है, क्योंकि चारों ओर लोग हैं. और हमारे देश में परिवार एक साथ रहते हैं, तो इंडिविजुअल स्पेस जिसको हम मानते हैं वो पाना अपने लिए वो बहुत मुश्किल है. सो आई थिंक उस टाइम पे अगर आप बाथरूम में भी जाके आप 1 घंटा बैठे, या फिर आप कुछ अपने अपनी तरह से, मतलब छोटा एक विंडो निकाल के, जो मन हो रहा है, आपको गाने का मन हो रहा है, आपको रोने का मन हो रहा है, आपको गाली देने का मन हो रहा है, जो भी मन हो रहा है, वो आप एक रिलीज के तौर पे करें, एज एन एक्सरसाइज, क्योंकि हम सबको एक रिलीज चाहिए. एंड वो हमेशा हम सोचते नहीं है, उसका टाइम नहीं मिलता है, या फिर उसको हम इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं देते, पर वो रिलीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. रोना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, चिल्लाना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, किसी और की तरफ नहीं, पर एक रिलीज की तौर पे वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. गाना गाना भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. अगर आपको बाथरूम में जाके नाचने का मन हो, आई थिंक वो हमेशा ना हमें सिखाया जाता है बचपन से, स्पेशली औरतों से, कि जो मन में है वो मन की बात मन में ही रखो, और उसको दबोच लो, या फिर उसको अंदर ही अंदर भर लो. पर वो कभी अच्छा नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो भर भर के कभी ना कभी वो फूटता है, या फिर वो एक बहुत गहरा डिप्रेशन बन जाता है. And I really feel that this is something, and mental health is something that it's not a gender thing, it's not an age thing. It could happen to children, it could happen to babies, it could happen to old people, it could happen to anybody, from any gender, from any orientation, from any socioeconomic strata. It could happen to anyone and everyone, right? So the point is that to find things, and this is really something that I try doing for myself, because I think we all, I mean, people who live in families have different issues, people who live alone have different issues, but we all need to seem to give it a thought, and sort of go deeper and figure out what really truly makes us happy, and make that safe space within us, and dedicate, even if it's 10 minutes in a day, dedicate those 10 minutes to just ourselves and what gives us joy, be it singing, be it painting, be it just looking out of a window and seeing a tree, or just be it just breathing or meditating, or just doing math or sudoku, or whatever it is, just looking at the sky, whatever gives you inner joy. And it's different for different people, but just sort of addressing that this is important for your overall and long term mental health, because unfortunately in our country we never give it enough importance. um, Secondly, Chapal, I definitely want to say कि अगर आपके जितने भी परिवार के लोग हैं जो जिनके साथ आप नहीं रहते हो, जो दूर है आपसे, या फिर फ्रेंड्स है, pick up the phone and just ask them how they are. And this is the time of lockdown. For a fact, I know that the suicide rates have gone up, they will go up more, people are depressed, even people from privileged backgrounds. It's obviously we should remind ourselves every single day with every meal on our plate that imagine the number of people who are walking miles and miles and thousands of kilometers home without any food, children and people who are enormously and endlessly suffering. But does that mean that people, even in a privileged background, will not feel depressed or not feel low or not feel just sad? They will. People are losing jobs, they are cost cutting, people are not being able to meet their loved ones, families, lovers, whatever it is, there's a general sense of what's going to happen next. There's a general sense of hopelessness. And I think we all are in it. And if we can sort of operate from a little bit of kindness, and at least the people we know, just pick up the phone on them, message them, call them, and just ask, are you okay? You know, and do it for each other. And I think that is enormously, and I know this because a friend of mine, a work friend actually, he told me that, I've been calling my friends, and then I was like, that's so valuable. And I've started doing that. I call my friends, I'll pick up the phone, and out of the blue, I don't have to, but I'll just ask them how you are, and that's about it,
Yeah.
So I
I
think
mean, sometimes, sorry.
warmth can also heal people.
Yeah. No, again, I want to pick up on something you said, which is about kindness, because I've been having these conversations with a lot of experts, and you'd be surprised how many doctors talk about empathy and talk about kindness. These are, of course, medical professionals, and they say to us कि दुनिया में जब तक कोविड-19 का क्योर आता है तब तक आता है, मगर उससे पहले हमें हर इंसान की तरफ एक एम्पैथी, एक सद्भावना, एक काइंडनेस का एटीट्यूड अडॉप्ट करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हम सब इसमें जुड़े हुए हैं और किसी भी तरह से अलग नहीं हैं। How do we do this towards women in particular? And I want to add the LGBTQI population here, because when we've done mental health sessions, that's become such a big issue, because people have had to go to very unwelcoming home environments also. लोग घर जाते हैं और वो समलैंगिक हैं या ट्रांस हैं या किसी भी और सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन से हैं, और फिर उनको ये 2 महीने नेगोशिएट करना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया है, क्योंकि अब्यूज़ तो किसी भी तरह की हो सकती है, जैसे हमने बात की, तो women and other sexual minorities, the LGBTQI population, उनके लिए तो ये ज़्यादा मुश्किल वक्त हो गया है। हम उनकी तरफ एम्पैथी और काइंडनेस कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं, क्योंकि इस वक्त तो सब लोग अपने बारे में सोच रहे हैं ज़्यादातर।
नहीं, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है। और मैं एक्चुअली कुछ दिन पहले ही मैं एक कैलकाटा में, एक्चुअली कैलकाटा के बाहर एक ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी है, और वो अपने लिए रिलीफ ढूंढ रहे थे। और हम इतने सारे लोग हैं ना हमारे सोसाइटी में जिनके बारे में हम शायद हमेशा सोचते नहीं है, पर एक्चुअली में देखा जाए तो वो कैसे अपना मतलब खाना भी कैसे लाएंगे अपने प्लेट पे। और आपने जो बोला कि ये लोग शायद, क्योंकि अभी भी इतना ज्यादा टैबू है और घरों में है, कि ये लॉकडाउन के टाइम पे बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको एक बहुत अनवेलकमिंग एनवायरनमेंट में रहना पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि ऑप्शन नहीं है। बहुत टाइम घर के लोग they hurl abuses, they say mean things, they make them feel like they're unwanted, they're a burden on the family, and such unkind things. And I still don't know, Chapal, how do we, the only way out is probably more conversation, and just making it part of our day to day conversation, and make it a habit, इनके बारे में बात करना और इनके राइट्स के बारे में बात करना और उसको इम्पोर्टेंस देना। जो लोग, हम जैसे लोग हैं, आप जैसे जो लोग हैं, जिनकी बात कुछ और लोग सुन पाते हैं, हमें आई थिंक एक एफर्ट बनाना पड़ेगा इनके बारे में बात करने का, बिकॉज अदरवाइज आई डोंट सी अ ह्यूज चेंज ओवरनाइट, बिकॉज unfortunately, it is a society that is still ashamed of the LGBTQI community in a big way. And other than making it a part of a regular discourse and dialogue and making it part of our I mean, I have tried, and I know a lot of people who try to make it part of our work. For example, the films we make, the cinema we make, um, just to bring in awareness, towards this community. I think we all have to do small things, like, even say, for example, I mean, this is a random example, but in Patal Lok, I don't know if you've seen it, but there is a beautiful character, which is this character called Chini. She's a transgender female, and just to go through her hugely heartbreaking life, and it's just pathetic. It's so difficult. Even in the end, I mean, how she gets brutalized and brutally beaten up. And it's so, we have not thought of where to put the transgender community in a jail. They can't be with women, but they also shouldn't be kept with men because it's not safe. So to think about safety, also how heartbreakingly difficult it is for a simple human being. In that character, I mean, I just started howling because it's a human being who's trying to save up 5 lakh rupees, to just have a change of to have a sex change operation and live a a simple, normal life with somebody she loves. And this woman is putting her life at risk and still not able to, do the simplest and most normal things that most of us take for granted. And the discrimination, if you come to think about it, the level of discrimination towards the LGBTQI community is so deep, and it's so brutal, and it's so criminal on our part to constantly push it under the carpet and not be talking about it. So I think the only change that can come is through dialogues, yeah, and through this,
Yeah.
to talk to people who still think it's a problem and who still think it's a sin. And there are a lot, people like
Yeah.
that around us.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also a question of, like you were saying, starting those conversations and internalizing those conversations on a daily basis, because we have to रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी से इस बात को नॉर्मल करना है, क्योंकि ये नॉर्मल है, इसमें कोई there is nothing strange or anything out of the blue about it. It's a human rights issue more than anything else. It's not any other issue. I wanted to also say that we are asking questions, uh, if you have any live questions, or if you want to ask Shayoni something, please feel free. हमसे सवाल पूछिए, हम उसको ज़रूर शायनी और मैं डिस्कस करेंगे. एक सवाल जो हमारे पास आया है वो ये है कि if a woman is trapped with her abuser, uh, what are the steps that she can take? I know this is a very difficult question, because ये इस सवाल का कोई सीधा सही जवाब है ही नहीं शायद. मगर if you were for a moment to think about it, because we are talking about women in this lockdown, abuse is an obvious issue that is rising up again and again. So what would you say to that?
It's true that there are so many who are trapped with their abusers, who are trapped in relationships that are abusive. But I think the only way is to reach out. And if you have a friend who you could live with, if you had a sibling or a cousin, or anyone really, who you can trust and confide in, do that immediately. A lot of times, I know calling the police is not always helpful. I've seen a lot of police in my childhood, but it wasn't always helpful, because they come, they do whatever they have to do, and then they leave. But Chapal, I would like you to, after this chat, if you can sort of put some links or some numbers where people could call at this time, because the lockdown is, not everything is operational, but people who are, I think we should definitely, put down some numbers, that SOS numbers that can be contacted in case there is something. And definitely, if you have nothing, um, I think call it out, just call it out, and and shame this person. If you know somebody, if you are on social media, just take his photo at that time and just put it up on social media, or whatever it is, just shame this person publicly. I think a lot of times, people think that they can do and get away by doing whatever they want because it's in close quarters and it's in very sort of intimate spaces. But the moment they are publicly shamed, and it tends to make a difference. So definitely, and we are always there. If there's anything I can do, I would definitely, I would be there, and so would, I know, Chapal or School. The other thing I really want to say is, if you see any kind of abuse in your family, uh, you have to call it out, and or in your neighborhood. And I said this before also, if you're witness to any kind of abuse, don't stay silent, because then you're complicit to it. If you see your father um, behaving in a certain way, or your grandparents behaving in a certain way, or your uncles. Also, marital rape is something that is constantly, unfortunately, being shoved under the carpet. And Chapal and I were talking about this, that the Supreme Court has apparently walked away. Uh, and this is something that I myself have been trying to, garner some attention towards since I was 18 years old, and it's been more than a decade, and we are still in the same position. There is so much and sexual abuse in homes, which is also a great threat in this lockdown period, because there are a lot of people who are stuck with their abuses and sexual abuses in their homes. So just speak out and call them out, guys. I mean, this is the only way, I guess.
I mean, this is always difficult. ये मुश्किल भी होता है क्योंकि ये conversation, ये बातचीत, क्योंकि हमें इतनी शर्म का अनुभव कराया जाता है. We are taught to feel small. We are taught to feel shame. Every time we talk about these transgressions, every time, especially women, or for that matter, the LGBTQI communities, we say to them, talk about it. But the truth is that they have the burden of society teaching them shame systematically. In the education system, at home, in the playground, you're taught shame. Shame is your biggest obstacle, because otherwise anybody transgressing against you is something that they know is wrong and you know is wrong. Uh, but we are taught that you don't speak out. I want to ask a related question that has come up, which is that in your roles and in your work, you have shown both vulnerable women and strong women. These women represent both ends of the spectrum. Uh, how do you negotiate with this as a woman and as an artist? Because you're really wearing two hats, and I always wonder how a female artist negotiates that role. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a really good question, actually, and I agree with you. It's you experience certain things a little differently if you are a woman, for example. And I always feel that I have a responsibility, an added responsibility, as a human being, but also as a woman, to represent um, women authentically, and women of from varied backgrounds. And what you said, Chapal, it's not just, I don't think strength and vulnerability are two opposing forces. I think we all have both um, in us, all of us. We have strength that we channel sometimes, and we have vulnerability that we are faced with sometimes. And both are as important. And it's also important as human beings to be in touch with both of them. You have to be strong, but you also have to embrace your vulnerability. And for example, from outside, it might seem like, an Agora, for example, in Article 15, is vulnerable, but she's not. She is in extreme, like distressing situation. She comes from a strata and a society that has been constantly subjugated and exploited, and their rights have been supported. But having said that, she's not submissive. She's not willing to take uh, the status quo of society and the society she's been born into, uh, without giving it a fight. And she's extremely strong. She has a spine of steel, and she's extremely empowered, which is very difficult without, for a girl who has probably not gotten a certain kind of education or the backing, or there is a lot of power play. Being a Dalit woman in today's day and age, I mean, come on, you have literally no human rights, but still she's willing to stand up for herself and for what she believes in, because she believes that change is going to come. She's hopeful, she's optimistic, and she's super strong. Having said that, you would think that a character like Damini Rizvi Roy, who is extremely, highly educated, she comes from a very privileged background, she has everything, so to say, when seen from outside, but she, a lot of times, although she tries to be strong and she tries to be brave, but she's extremely vulnerable as well. And what is very interesting at any given point as an actor is to balance both. As we balance that in our lives, I think it's very important to make every character a bit of everything. It's just, otherwise it would just be a very monotonous, superficial, unidimensional character to play. So I don't think there can be any human being that can exist with only strength or only vulnerability. There's a mix of everything, and I think and again, as something that you spoke about a little before, it was empathy. When you treat every character, and you sort of approach every character with empathy, apart from seeing, oh, this is a good character, a bad character, or evil character, or saintly character. It's really empathy that makes you sort of approach every character more realistically, more authentically, and that's very important. But as a woman, you never should. I mean, I always judge women who endorse fairness creams. I'm really sorry, but I can't not. It really disturbs me, and there are times when I'm like, come on, you can't just say. And that's also with anything which is which is politically wrong. You
But
can't say that, oh, I'm an actor, what do I have to lose, or what can I do? You can do a lot, and I think art has a lot of politics. Everything has politics in it, and you can't exist if you're apolitical. There is nothing called apolitical. You're just sitting on the fence and being a bigot. Everything has politics, and you have to be aware of what you believe in, and what you want to stand for. If you don't want to stand for something, it's fine. That's your personal choice. But don't say that, oh, I don't care, because, then you're just being a selfish human being. But I don't think you can ever, and I think we all have to, nowadays, especially, we have to come from a little bit of more empathy.
yeah, no, I agree with you, and it's very interesting because we are getting a few more questions. So I'm just going to say one line. मैं एक ही बात बोलूँगा कि औरतें ही नहीं, आजकल बहुत से आदमी और बहुत से बड़े फिल्म स्टार्स भी फेयरनेस क्रीम्स इंडोर्स कर रहे हैं. तो हमें ये भूलना नहीं चाहिए कि ये बीमारी आदमियों में भी आ गई है बहुत ज़्यादा. Somebody was telling me that one of the largest selling products for men in stores are fairness creams and vitality capsules. It's so it's kind of strange.
I remember I was like in school, I was in like class 9 or class 10, and we'd gone for a trekking, all family. And I remember my cousin taking out one fairness cream tube from her boyfriend's bag and making fun of him. And we were all like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, but this is all we've used since we were kids.
Oh my
So
God.
people realize a lot of times that, how harmful it is or what it's actually trying to do. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have two more questions. एक है कि during the work from home situation, female homemakers have to work round the clock, and we discussed this. How do they deal with family members? क्योंकि बहुत बारी आप सारे दिन काम करते हैं. Sorry.
The work shift has gone haywire for the entire workforce during the
Hmm.
work from home situation. Female homemaker, unfortunately, have, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, that's what we're talking about. Their work shift has worsened. How do you think women in such a situation can unwind or deal with family members who expect constant labor?
Yeah.
It's totally true, I mean, I was talking to a friend who was literally at the verge of a breakdown because she was working but also having to cook and do other things and clean the, and on top of that I think her mother-in-law was not very happy with how she was managing everything, and it's a real problem. So I mean, of course I don't have a solution because I'm not an employer, but I think there should be, because a lot of people I know are facing this. I think if you can write your HR, if you work for a company, write your HR to formalize work hours. And because a lot of times, even in the work hours, even in those 8 hours, because you're home, people still expect you to make tea. People still expect you to go open the door. And these are just, I mean, these are problems that we have to deal with, but at least, you can know that apart from these 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever your work hours are, you're not going to be available, and make that very, very clear. And I think make that an HR thing, make it a formalized thing so that nobody is also expecting you to do it. Apart from that, I can't really think of any other solution, but one has to
Yeah, I
formalize it,
mean, one.
and you have to be paid extra for an extra shift.
Yeah, yeah.
Moment you put it in terms of money, everyone is like, okay, fine, you can go. Nobody wants to pay extra now.
I mean, a couple of other questions have come to us. One is about mental health, कि मानसिक तनाव जो होता है, खासकर उन लोगों के लिए जो impoverished communities में, slums में है. Slums एक अच्छा वर्ड नहीं, informal settlements की बात करते हैं. Informal settlements जिनके पास mental health services ढूंढने के तरीके नहीं हैं, उसमें तब क्या होता है? तब क्या हम कम्युनिटी की तरफ टर्न करें, अपने दोस्तों की तरफ टर्न करें? बिकॉज़ इन इन कम्युनिटीज़ में जो इंटीग्रेशन होता है, खासकर औरतों का, वो बहुत मज़बूत होता है, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग होता है. आपकी क्या सोच है इसके बारे में?
No, it's a great question, but I actually don't have an answer
हुँ,
because again, unfortunately, mental health is there's such a stereotype and there's such a stigma attached to it.
हुँ, हुँ.
Uh, Even people who are highly educated and independent and woke, for example, so to say, are are often not open to going to a shrink or
Yeah,
talking to
yeah,
somebody,
absolutely.
taking counseling. But I don't know this and I don't have information. I would request Chapal and the team at school that if you can sort of again list out a few NGOs who do work with women and children in uh, informal settlements, because
हुँ,
I knew in Delhi there were. I don't know in and in metros you can still find, but and it's a real problem because they often don't um, have somebody who's informed to speak to,
हुँ,
because a lot of times when it comes to domestic violence, say in I'm saying slums, but in stratas which are not, where it's a given sometimes that the husband is going to go get drunk in the evenings and come beat the wife. You know,
yeah,
it's a given for a lot of people. I mean, I remember doing Parched, and which where I play a character who is extremely, I mean, she comes from a very, very violent household, and her in-laws are constantly beating her up and also raping her. But these kind of things are the normal for a lot of people, and to break through to that mindset where the women need to be told that, listen, you don't have to take beating every day, you can do something about it. It's not necessarily the only way of life and the only reality that exists. And a lot of people, a lot of women, it is the only reality that exists. If you see thappad, the maid's character, where the husband beats, and she lets him beat her. She's taken it as her reality and as her normal, and till one day she's just she breaks out. And that's the thing, that unless and until we try to empower people, which only will come with conversation, education, and awareness, there is no other way. So I would again request you, if you can sort of um look for some counseling sessions that might happen, that might help others. And again, as I said, if you have people who work in your homes, be it your household help, be it your drivers, even men, I would say, speak to them, and speak to them about how women should be treated, because that's very, very important in every household, to speak about how women should be treated. And it should be a responsibility given to the men,
Yeah.
you know
I mean, I think this is really important because none of these questions have easy solutions. Unfortunately, we have the burden of history against us, we have the burden of patriarchy against us, and a lot of people have vested interests in letting this remain the way that it has. I just want to say that हमने एक हेल्पलाइंस की लिस्ट बनाई है जिसमें ज़्यादातर शहरों में हेल्पलाइंस जो हैं वो आपको अवेलेबल होंगी. ज़रूरी नहीं है कि ये हेल्पलाइंस हमेशा आपके लिए अवेलेबल होंगी या मदद कर पाएंगी, मगर ये एक शुरुआत है. और इसमें कम्युनिटी का भी रोल बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है, क्योंकि बहुत बारी जब आप कम्युनिटी में ये बात उठाते हैं और बातचीत करना शुरू करते हैं तो आपको कुछ सपोर्ट मिल सकती है. एक और सवाल है which is actually a critical question. Some women are alone at home. How do we ensure their safety? I mean, this is asked by Amitabh, and it's really important because there are so many single women today in India who do not want to, who want to live on their own, who want to have the right and agency. Um, how do we ensure their safety? It's again, it's such a difficult question to answer. There isn't one right answer. कोई एक जवाब नहीं है इसका.
हाँ, मतलब I can't really answer this because it's something that I also feel, I don't have an answer to this. And but yeah, I mean, having some SOS numbers, making sure you have some people around close by who can help, and just be ready with a pair of scissors or a knife at all times for self-defense. But I don't want to be making fun of this, but it's a real thing, and there is a lot of women who are unsafe. यार अब वही है ना, मतलब if you are in a family, you're unsafe. If you're single, alone, you're unsafe. You're just unsafe, basically. Bottom line is you're unsafe. And we should just work towards a society which wouldn't be this unsafe in another next 10 years, probably,
Yeah. I mean, this actually, this lockdown and this virus is, in a way, I think also giving us an opportunity, ye ek mauka bhi hai, right, to rethink some of these normals, to actually discuss these normals and say, is this acceptable? Kya ye hona chahiye? Because a lot of people who are within families, like you were saying, are also unsafe. So there are 2-3 steps. Last time when we were having a discussion with the mental health professionals, उन्होंने 2-3 चीजें कही. एक तो आपको ये बहुत जरूरी है कि आप एक लाइन ड्रॉ करें जब कुछ गलत होता है. जरूरी नहीं है कि उससे खत्म हो जाएगा, मगर शुरू करना is very important to call that wrong out. The second thing is to create a circle of friends or a circle of caregivers, because even if you're single, and this was a question posed about single women, men, people living in big cities, small homes, isolated, अकेले हैं, अकेलापन हो रहा है, तो बहुत ज़रूरी है अपने आसपास एक ग्रुप बनाएं, एक समाज बनाएं जिससे आप जुड़ सकें, जो आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ बट ऑल्सो आपकी फिजिकल सेफ्टी का ध्यान रख सकते हैं. ये एकदम नहीं होता, बट यू हैव टू एंटिसिपेट व्हेन यू मेक दिस चॉइस टू बी alone in a big city or on your own, because these are choices that we make and we must also arm ourselves a little bit with it.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Achha,
sorry, but also, something that has come to my attention is that the growing frustration of the youth, and especially boys and men. And I think we need to address that slightly, because we all know that there has been an increase in the use of porn, for example, and
Yeah.
most of the porn that is available, free porn, is extremely violent. It's extremely violent and
Yeah.
oppressive towards women. And the fact that a lot of people are taking to this as means of a release, or entertainment, or even I'm going to the extent of saying that they're learning stuff from porn as well. And I think it it is actually detrimental. I mean, I have nothing against porn, but the kind of porn people are watching, which has such little empathy, again, which has such little understanding of consent, understanding of respect of the female body. These are things that we need to sort of address, and I know for a fact that there is a lot of pent up anger, pent up frustration. There's a lot of lack and a lot of conversation, in fact, that started around the release of homo shots, and a lot of these men who were so disturbed by seeing four women who are unapologetically, just living their lives, and lives of agency, and with full control over their lives, seemed to have very, very, very deeply disturbed some men, and that actually goes on to say, and they pose questions like, भारतीय औरतें ऐसे थोड़ी ना होती है, या फिर हिंदू औरतें ऐसे थोड़ी ना होती है, या फिर ऐसे औरतों से आप शादी थोड़ी करेंगे. And there needs to be some kind of conversation around how we think, the how we all have these huge moral judgments about women, and anything which we are not used to seeing is supposed to be immoral, and there's always everyone's, waiting to jump at conclusions about the woman's character, right? And things that we've all faced in various ways all our lives. And I think there is, this whole conversation around boys' locker room, and general perception, and a very, very violent perception of sexuality, and what women want and what men want, and just the divide, I think, needs to be dealt with more empathetically, and men need to be spoken to, and that also can happen at home, as from parents talking to them, from mothers talking to them, or aunts talking to them, or older siblings or cousins talking. I think this sense of empowering has to come from especially the women in the family, and we can no longer shy away from saying, "Oh my God, hi Tauba, hum kaise baat kare iske bare mein?" Because what actually comes out as a result of this is that they have misinformation, and they have a wrong sense of what is right and what is wrong, or what the woman would want, and they become violent in a very unseen way, and I think a lot of these conversations need to happen at home, and I hope parents take
Yeah.
um, a little bit of, give this a little bit of heed.
Yeah, and I think these are some really important points, because I think the burden of, or rather the responsibility of changing society lies with everyone. हर जने की ये ज़रूरत है, तो ये हर जने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी है. आप शर्म से, हया से इसको अगर रुके रहेंगे, तो एक और नई जनरेशन आएगी जो इससे फिर से जूझेगी, जो इससे फिर से लड़ेगी. I want to. We've completely run out of time here, but I do want to ask you, because we spoke about poetry and how that empowers women. I wanted you to read something that you had thought about, um, and we had discussed. If you can tell us something, a woman, a female poet that you would like to read out today, somebody.
So, one of my favorite poems of all times is "Phenomenal Woman." I've performed it multiple times. But also Maya Angelou, as a poet, and what she has able to do, with the Black movement with women's rights, and consistently and methodically through her work, through her voice, and at the time where women weren't really, it wasn't as easy as today, to speak out, especially as a Black woman, and we all love her so much, and I think it's women like these, it's humans like these, that have paved the way for change, and we should always keep remembering their effort and their work through our lives. So this is Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a model's fashion size, but when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curve of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenal, phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand up or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenal, phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they still can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. I'm a woman, phenomenal, phenomenal woman. That's it. So yeah, that was Phenomenal Woman by Magna.
Thank you so much. That I cannot think of a better way to end this discussion with both Angelou's words and your voice. And thank you again for joining us for this discussion, but also reading this out so beautifully. And with those words, I want to say to especially all the women, but also the men watching this program, uh, it's time to help create a society which helps these phenomenal women, not debilitates them, not pushes them to the side, not teaches them shame or disgust at who they are or what their bodies or what their health or mental health needs to be. Uh, ये बातचीत से कुछ तो बदलेगा, हम ये उम्मीद रखते हैं कि अगली जनरेशन्स में अगर हम ये एक इस तरह का माहौल पैदा कर सकें जहाँ पर औरतों को एक जगह मिले सिर्फ अपना पक्ष ही नहीं रखने की, बट पूरी तरह जीवन को हर तरीके से हर माहौल में जीने की, तो ये एक शुरुआत है. Thank you so much, Sayani. Thank you so much for having you.
This was wonderful, but I have a request for everyone who's watching this, that if you're a mother or a father, make sure if you ask your girl child to do something, you also ask the boy child to do the same thing. It's not okay to ask the girl to get a glass of water for the brother or for anybody. There has to be a distribution of wealth and distribution of labor and responsibility, and it has to start at home. Please do not differentiate between a girl and a boy. It's all the same. We're all human beings. We all are worthy enough to take responsibility. So please don't treat the boys differently from the girls, and please speak respectfully to everyone around you, towards your elders, towards your children, towards each other in a couple situation, and And if you can share, because I think we all are at a cusp where the world is shrinking. We are all in the same boat, and I think enough of greed and just thinking about ourselves. Just spare a little bit of thought every day to think of other people and do something for other people and people who are in need, and just share whatever you have. So, and thank you everyone to watch us talk. Thank you.
And thank you, because I think the words that you're leaving us with are really critical: empathy, equality, justice, and hope. Uh, we should start our conversations with these words, not just for ourselves, but for everyone we know, in some measure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ayani. Lovely having you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank
Take care.
you. Thank you.
Thank you all for